In the first movie, the clues were all around us. In this movie, the clues were all around the world.
National Treasure 1 was a movie that was dealing with domestic locations, and this one is international all the way, and I like that.
This new installment, The Book of Secrets, we go to London and to Paris and kind of interesting things that we didn't really approach before, especially in foreign countries.
There are scenes in France and England and also in different locations in America, which we haven't been to before. All real locations. These are all places that we actually went, and somehow Jerry Bruckheimer and our director, John Turteltaub, got permission to shoot in these places, which is very hard to do.
You know, we're shooting guns outside Buckingham Palace. We're doing chase scenes. We're here in Paris shooting on the Seine River. We're in Washington, D.C., in front of the Capitol. You just got to keep asking and keep pushing. And when it's done, you end up with this beautiful representation of all these great places the world has to offer.
Between Jerry and the director, there's no boundaries. So from our standpoint, our job is to turn those pages into reality. And obviously this is a movie about shooting in places that we say we're in.
There's no point in faking it when the real thing looks so good.
Vive la France!
Being in Paris was lovely.
This as the prop, as a possibility?
I think so, yes. I think that one looks much better. It's more fun to watch Riley holding it.
Right, I would just go with the big one.
Just don't land it in the Seine.
Yeah, just don't crash it.
Wobbly had to leave a clue somewhere on here. Move in on the torch.
Let me get there. If you're going to go shoot a scene in Paris, you have to make sure people know it's Paris, or else why'd you go? So you get into the corny stuff of you want to see the Eiffel Tower. You could always just stick an Eiffel Tower in the background, but we were like, no, let's go. That's what this movie does. We found an extraordinary place where there is a full, perfect Statue of Liberty in the middle of the Seine River with the Eiffel Tower in the background. It's as if someone built it for us. It's great looking.
Only 2 days in Paris. One scene, 2 bridges, 1 river, good to go.
On parle pas de statue là-dedans.
Yeah, he's right. There's no mention of statue. You two start going, and he's all hurt because he wants to be your partner.
Well, the closest one would be in London at Buckingham Palace. Riley, how fast can we get there?
I don't know, when you ask your new best friends.
Tu peux appeler un taxi, et tu leur dis qu'ils les traitent pas comme des touristes, okay?
I got a kick out of talking to some of the actors in French. People treated us really well. We had a great time.
Well done in Paris. Thank you for Paris.
Shooting in London, instead of giving the normal 1 week notice where we're going to shoot, it's at least a month. You need to know exactly what you want to do. And we got to shoot action scenes and gunshots and car chases, not something that they're big on.
It's kind of interesting when you spend time in London and get to see Buckingham Palace, and we shot in some fabulous locations there.
I love London, and it's nice to be back in Europe after 4 months, you know, all over the place.
We're in London. We're going to Buckingham Palace.
It's called Buckingham Palace, and this is where we keep our #1 national treasure, the Queen.
Background! Action! Action!
I try to have an international mind when I look at the world. When I go to different places, I try to understand the customs and be a part of the community somehow. I know I'm a visitor, but I try to embrace that.
Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
One of the places that we found to shoot in was an old palace, literally a block from Buckingham Palace. It is next door to the residence of Prince Charles. The changing of the guard ceremony was happening right next to us. We were told one day, would it be okay? Prince Harry can see us from his window, who says he might want to come out onto the set and meet everybody. We were right there.
We're right in the heart of St. James's, right outside St. James's Palace and Clarence House, which is the residence of Prince Charles and his family.
This is Cleveland Road, and these are government buildings and offices, but they would have been residential at one time. Lancaster House is the Duke of York's residence, or would have been, but he doesn't want to live there.
I'm a police officer at Buckingham Palace, and today we're just securing the entry and exit points for Lancaster House.
Security is very tight, and we have to be very careful about what we're doing. In fact, they're needing all the people we're putting in uniform and who we're putting on the site.
Well, all the crew have gone through full sort of police checks. Could I ask you just to have your photographic ID ready, please?
Thank you, sir.
That's involved something like 300 checks through the police computer. And I've sadly, not everyone made it.
We've shot a lot in the City of London, which is the financial centre of town, but principally there we've only been allowed to shoot at the weekends. In the main, we're pretty much limited to weekends for shooting on the street in Westminster and in the City of London, simply because we're doing a lot of stunt work and the nature and the size of the production.
We've had a beer truck coming down the tight alleyway. We're about to, I think, smash into this little electric car and take a few scooters out. Let's see what happens at the end of that mix.
We've had to take all the batteries out, which is most of the weight of the vehicle.
It's the child seat.
Yeah.
It's the child seat.
How easy I do is he just hits that with his rear end, flops over, all that way. It comes by.
Best of luck to you all.
On this camera, put a straight 85 on so I can just set a deep stop and a hyperfocal distance and we can get there.
Which stops right here to let Nick go through and the truck go through.
My front two cars just don't go through. I'll get two cars through, then I'll have my car stop.
Assume the taxis and all the cars are stopped because all these people are running out into the street.
So we just get roll in, stop and turn around,
right.
Come into a stop line, so there is movement.
Right.
Go to Washington, D.C., I'm telling you, it's as beautiful as any city in the world. And we got lucky. We got there when the cherry trees were blossoming. When they're blossoming, Washington takes on a whole other character. Sparkly white and pink flowers everywhere. But the craziness we all feel about how bureaucracy and government work, just go to Washington for 10 minutes. We wanted to shoot in front of the White House. Going onto the White House property? Possible. Standing on the sidewalk? No. Working in the street? No problem. Walking across the street away from the White House? No. Walking a block away? No problem. It's all really weird. But all of us basically kept saying, keep going until you see a little red dot on your chest. As soon as you see a little red dot on your chest, run.
Move back! Move back!
As soon as that was done, we raced over to the front of the Capitol, or the back of the Capitol, depending on your point of view, and shot a scene with Harvey Keitel and Nick Cage. There's a little duck pond, beautiful spot, with the Capitol as your backdrop. And its familiarity makes it even more interesting to look at, because you can't believe how much it looks like the Capitol. With all the amazing places we went, the least likely suspect became our favorite. There seems to be something a lot more exotic in saying we're going to Paris than saying we're going to South Dakota. Oh my Lord, we all fell in love with South Dakota.
Yeah, having never been to Mount Rushmore, it was really kind of exciting for me to go there and expose myself to things I've only seen in pictures and in films.
I think they're very beautiful portraits, very cleverly shaped in the mountain, and you know, the suggestion of glasses, and then just the look is quite majestic and really represents, I think, the souls of these guys.
I mean, there was something about that place, and Mount Rushmore I'd never been to. Shooting there was really wonderful.
It's a really extraordinary part of the world. I mean, Mount Rushmore was fine. You know, it's an amazing man-made achievement, but the power of the natural world around Mount Rushmore I found much more affecting.
The Black Hills were unique to me. They were very, very special because it's a sacred area and still something of a secret. I don't think people realize how beautiful that is in our own backyard.
There's an enormous amount of culture, American culture, not just the Americana in the West and the ruggedness of it, but the Native American culture, which is not about studying the past. It's very present in South Dakota. It has a historical aspect, it has a visual aspect, it has an extraordinary environmental and natural aspect, and a spiritual aspect. None of us could help but become more and more aware of it. Everybody who went to Paris or London said, wow, this is great, I'd love to come back here, visit. We were looking at houses in South Dakota.
If only it were that easy.
I hope people will walk away from this one thinking it's bigger and more fun to watch, and it takes them on a journey around the world, really, and go with us on this treasure hunt, which is, I think, a lot more exciting than the first one.
The connection of U.S. history to French history or British history plays out in the movie.
And it's definitely inspired the performances, being in these places, giving us all a little jolt.
That was brilliant.